Hey everybody, we all know that shopping for a home can be an exciting process and looking can be really fun. But today I want to talk about questions that I get asked quite often and maybe give you guys some tips and some advice and answer some of these questions so that you can approach the home shopping and home viewing process a little more objectively and a little less emotionally, and hopefully this will help you make ultimately the right and best choice for yourselves when you're ready to buy a home. So let's get started. So the first question, what should I do to prepare before seriously starting to shop and ultimately buying a home? What I would tell buyers anywhere in the country, whether they're going to be working with us or not, your first step when you're getting serious about this is interview a couple of agents and then decide who you feel comfortable working with and who you're going to be able to trust, and have them do a buyer consultation with you. You really need to understand the process and what you should ultimately be ready for, and that agent, if it's a good agent, is going to be asking you some pointed questions so that they can start to get to know what your wants and needs are, what your goals are, what's important to you, so that they can ultimately help save you a lot of time and money and help you find the best property. Then when you're starting to go out and looking at homes, open houses are great, but when you have an agent that you're working with, you want that agent with you when you're looking at homes, even if it is open houses. Why? Well, because depending on the market, you may not have a chance to go back a second time if there's a lot of interest in that property. So you want to make sure your agent and anybody else involved in the process is with you when you're going to look at houses. Okay, second question. What should I be looking for when viewing a home? Location, 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 right? So you want to make sure that the property is in a desirable location, but you also want to make sure that the property is in a location that is going to work for your commute to and from work, schools, taking that into consideration. The second thing I would say would be the finishes and the layout of the property. So this is very personal. Not everybody is looking for an open concept, although open concepts seem to be what's very popular among contemporary buyers right now. Some families or some individuals prefer a more cozy, intimate, compartmentalized layout where your kitchen is an enclosed kitchen versus open to the living area. So look at the layout, look at the floor plan. Layout is a big thing to look at and consider when you're touring a home. So the next question is, are there certain things that are hidden that you should be looking for? I'm just going to tell you one of my best kept secrets when you're looking for a house. Look at the properties that everybody else isn't looking at. And what I mean by that is there are properties that are just poorly presented online, whether there's just not a lot of photos or the photos are really awful, or the property itself, there's dishes in the sink, the beds are unmade. Those are the things that can turn off the majority of buyers and they just immediately will swipe left and move on to the next one. Those can sometimes be the best opportunities and the hidden gems. Why? Because buyers are just looking past them. Last question, how do I avoid buying a money pit? This is a big question and it's a loaded one. Depending on where you are, first off, like in Northern California, it's common for listing agents to include disclosures and sometimes seller home inspections prior to the buyer making an offer. That's not the case in Southern California. Once you open escrow, you have a contingency period. And during that contingency period, you have the ability to do inspections. I strongly suggest having your agent help you schedule a professional home inspection to start with. I would also say consider hiring a plumber to do a sewer scope. Determine if there's anything you need to be concerned about with the plumbing. Sometimes the home inspection might reveal that there's slow water flow in some areas, but it's not going to tell you necessarily, unless the home inspector does a sewer scope, if there's any issues with the pipes. The other thing that you really also want to look closely at and take your time reviewing are the seller disclosures. What did the seller disclose about any work that they've had done? Did they have any insurance claims? Were there issues that they had to remedy over the last several years? These are all things that will, I would say, if you can, look at the disclosures before you do the home inspection in case something was revealed in the disclosures that you might want an inspector to pay close attention to. That's the best way to avoid a money pit. It's not to say that things still won't happen after you move into a property. You're buying a home, and with it there's going to be maintenance and repairs. It's just how it goes. So for that, I would strongly recommend getting a 1-year home warranty, whether you can ask the seller to pay for it or pay for it yourself. But get a home warranty. It's a lot cheaper and more cost effective than making an insurance claim or having to pay for a repair yourself. So I hope that helps. Those would be my tips and my answers to some of the more leading questions that I get asked when shopping for a home. If you have questions, if you're thinking about buying a home, whether it's your first or your 10th, doesn't matter. We are here to help. We would love to talk to you. You can reach out by the QR code on your screen. And bye for now.